Hi everybody, this is Virginia Milner back with another tutorial for the DeKalb County Library System. And if you were here for our last tutorial, you will notice that I am wearing the same clothes. Why? Because I decided to do them back to back. I am so excited about this next one. Years and years ago, I did one for ear wraps for people that don't have pierced ears and don't like to wear clipped earrings or have allergies or something that makes it impossible for them to wear pierced ears. And we did some ear wraps and people just loved them. And I've been getting requests for that again for a while now. And I usually don't like to repeat, but I've come up with some different designs for ear wraps. And so we're going to do that again. I mean, it's holiday season. We're going to parties. We need to have something pretty and flirty to go in our ears like these. So we're going to make some ear wraps today. And all you really need for that is a selection of beads that you like to wear. I'm going to use some chain and some 20 gauge wire. That's it. That's all we need. 20 gauge wire, beads, and chain. So let's get started because I have a couple of different ones that I want to show you. You're going to need your usual pliers, your round nose pliers. They're rounded, completely rounded, these little arms. Your square or chain nose pliers are slightly rounded and slightly square on the outside, but completely flat on the inside. If you're going to buy them, make sure you buy the ones that don't have those little teeth or ridges on the inside so that they don't hurt your wire. And lastly, you're going to need a pair of cutters. I don't need that. I'll put it away. I'm going to need a pair of cutters to cut my wire and my chain. I'm also, and a ruler to measure everything out. I'm also using this little ear display because I can't show you on my ears. I tried to do that last time and it was really not very easy. It's easier to go ahead and show you on this little guy. But let's go down here to the other camera so that we can get started and see how many we can do. So like I said, you're going to want to do this on your own ears. You can, if you have one of these little models, you can use it and then reshape it on your ear. 20 gauge wire, which is what we're going to be using, is very malleable. So you can shape it to your ear pretty easily. But the first thing that we're going to do is create a little loop that will fit around the ear. And I want a little piece of it that will be down here in the front, just below the opening, the curve here of your ear, so that it'll hold the ear wire on. And then the other is going to go around the back of your ear. So what I'm going to do is place 3 inches. Is this 3? 4 inches. We're going to take 4 inches of wire, and the length of wire depends, of course, on your ears and on what you decide to do with this. I'm just going to make a basic wrap for right now. So I'm going to take 4 inches of wire. I'm going to place it behind my ear. I'm going to call this my ear. I'm going to place it behind my ear, and then I'm going to wrap the wire around. I want enough wire. Give yourself at least a good inch here. As a matter of fact, you can start here if you want. Give yourself a good inch so that it's down the front of your wire right here where the opening starts. So I'm going to wrap that around my ear like so. And just get it nice and snug against the back of my ear. And then right here at the earlobe, I'm going to put a bend in it. So I'll know where to put a loop. And then this part is going to be where we put a little bead or whatever you want to put to hang down there. So that's good. Take that off of your ear. And this is what we have. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a loop at the top here. Oh, you know what you can do? if you want to strengthen this some, it doesn't have to be super hard, but you can take your flat pliers and just kind of squeeze the wire a little bit just to give it a little more strength. You can also take a rubber mallet and pound it a little bit. Doesn't have to be enough to do more than just get it a little tougher. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is make a little loop here. Let's curve that under a little bit more. Let's check it out. Make sure it looks the way I want. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to take my round nose pliers and make a small loop. Right here in the top end of my wire. So I'm just going to slide my wire just a little bit from the tip, maybe a quarter of an inch. I don't need a big loop here. And I'm going to rotate my pliers and make the loop going in the opposite direction of the curve. I'm just going to rotate and reposition my pliers and then grasp again. Rotate a little bit more and keep doing that until I have a loop. And again, it just needs to be a small loop, just enough, just big enough to put your bead in. Okay. So then down here at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put it on again. I like to keep checking. And again, you can do this with your own ear to make sure things are sitting the way you want them to sit. I'm going to curve that in. Remember, it was down here, and then when you made your loop, you lost some of that wire. You don't really necessarily want it to hang way down there because that's where your bead's going to hang. So now I'm going to just push this under a little bit so it's not sticking out as much, because I want it to curve into my ear. There we go. Yes. And then when I put my bead on, it'll go down here. Well, hopefully not in my ear. Okay, so that's good. So now right down here where I've put that little bend, I'm going to cut that off because I want to make another loop. That's going to go behind the lobe. So I'm going to cut that off and make another loop. So I'm going to, again, grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about a quarter of an inch down my pliers, and make a loop that's going in the opposite direction of the curve, just like I did the other one. Okay, rotate, and there we go. So there's my frame. Here's my little frame. And now comes the design. What do I want to do with it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is what I did with these. So I'm just going to put a little bead up here. I have to decide which one. I think I'm going to go with this guy up here at the top. So all I need to do for that is take a small piece of wire, this little leftover piece of wire. And I'm going to make a tiny little, you can use a head pin, but I'm just going to make my own little head pin. So I'm just going to make a little head pin by taking the tip of my pliers and grasping the tip of my wire like that. And I'm just going to make a small half loop, very, very small, just like that, just a little bend. Then I'm going to take my pliers, my square pliers, and I'm going to squeeze that end back toward the main part of the wire, just to make a little nub there. Don't need a loop, just a little nub that I can use to stop my beads from falling off. Just like that. See that? It's so tiny. There. A little bit, maybe that'll help. Maybe that was it. I was too close to it. Okay, so I have my little nub. So now I'm going to slide a bead on. Let me see. On the top, I think I'm going to put this guy. And it slid right off. Okay, so I need a slightly bigger little nub because this has got a large hole in it. Goodness gracious. Didn't realize that. Okay, so depending on the bead that you have, that will determine how big you want your little nub to be, because it has to be sufficient to hold your bead on. So again, I'm going to go with a 3/4 turn. I'm going to squeeze this almost closed, but just enough so that it will accommodate my bead. And now let's try that out. Make sure that that's big enough to hold my bead on. That is kind of a big hole in there. I didn't realize that. And let's see. Yes, that'll do it. That little head pin works. Squeeze it together a little bit more. So there we go. All right, and now I just need to make a loop on top to fit into the top of my wire. So I'm going to bend that back, cut this off down to about a little less than 1/2 inch. You don't need much for your loop. And I'm just eyeballing it. Rip off the rest of that wire. I bend it back so that I can end up with a nice centered loop. So I bent it back at a right angle. I'm going to take my pliers, slide down again about 1/4 of the way down my pliers because I don't need too big a loop. And I'm going to rotate my pliers, open, reposition them, rotate again, open, roll them back, and keep doing that until I have a loop. And make sure that's nicely closed. And that's one of them. I'm going to go ahead and put that on. So just open up my loop. Where is it? Where's the opening? There it is. Slide that on in the loop of my ear wire, my ear wrap. Need to open it a little more. and then close it back up. Nice. So that's the top part. And now we're going to do the bottom. And what I'm going to do on the bottom is put a chain, just like this. So what I'm going to do is make another couple of little pins, and you can do it the same way. I can do it the same way I did this, or I can do something a little different. I'm going to go ahead and make a little, I think I'm going to do a little infinity for this one, just to show you something different. So for that, I'm going to need about 2 inches of wire. I'm just using this cut off piece that I already had. I just need about 2 inches of wire for that. Give yourself 2 1/4, 2 1/2 if you want, but I would just leave your wire intact, and then you don't waste as much. So in order to get my little infinity, I'm going to go to the tip of my my wire with the tip of my pliers. I'm going to make a small loop. So I don't have anything sticking out the back here. I'm going to rotate my pliers slightly until I have part of the loop. Open them up, reposition my pliers, close back down, turn again. And every time I open my pliers and reposition, I don't want to move my wire because I want to make sure that they stay in the same place until I have a loop. Then I'm going to slide my pliers under that loop. Same position, just at the tip, and I'm going to make a loop going the other direction. So rotate, small, turn, open, reposition, grasp again, rotate, and keep doing this until my wire is straight up between the 2 loops. So I have a nice little infinity head pin. So then I'm going to slide my smallest bead on. And I'm using a 6 millimeter rondelle for that. Doesn't have to be huge. It can be a bigger bead if you want. It can be a round bead. It can be a bicone, anything that you like. So now I'm just going to make a loop at the top so that I can attach it to my chain. So again, I'm going to give myself a right angle bend, cut it off at about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8. Depends on how big you want your loop to be. Mine does not need to be that large. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about 1/4 inch down my pliers and make a loop, just like I did before. Here we go, spit that to the side, and let's make our other pin. And I'm going to do that one exactly the way I did this one. Just make a small 3/4 turn in my wire so that I can make a little pin. Take my flat pliers and squeeze that together. I'm just squeezing the small tail there so that it hits the back of my wire here. Just enough so that it will hold my bead on. So let's test it out, because the last time I had too small a pin. Oh, nope, that's perfect. Very good. So I'm going to bend my wire back again at a right angle. Cut it down to about 1/2 inch. And make a loop. Again with my pliers, about 1/4 inch down my on my wire about 1/4 of an inch down my pliers, rotate, open, rotate back, close, rotate again, open, rotate back, all the while not moving my wire, just using my pliers, and I hope I was on camera right then. And there we go. So I've got my beads all ready. So now I'm going to use my chain, and I just want an uneven dangle like this one. So I've got about 3 inches of wire here. I'm gonna just decide where I want my beads to, how I want my beads to hang. One's gonna be higher than the other one. So I'm just gonna give myself about an inch for the first bead, and the rest of it is going to have the second bead. So all I need to do is attach that to the ring of my frame. So I'm going to bend that so I know where I want that attached. And I'm going to open up my frame. And when I say open, I don't want you to pull it open, pull the end away from the long stem. I want you to turn it up in sort of a twisting motion like that, so that when you close it back up, you have kept your circle intact. And now I just want to slide this little circle at my little inch mark over the wire on my frame. So there are my 2 pieces. I'm going to close this back up. Make sure it's securely closed. And this is what I have. And I personally wanted the long chain in the back and the short chain in the front. And this is the front of my wire. This is the back of my wire. So the long chain's in the front, short chain in the front, and I mean the long chain's in the back, short chain's in the front. And this is going to be I'll go on my back wire, and the small one with the infinity link is going to go on my front wire. So all I need to do for that is open up my loop. And again, I'm twisting to the side. And I'm going to slide it in the last loop of my chain, just like that. Close it back up. And same thing on the longer one. Open up my loop. Slide it on the last link of my chain. And close. And there we have it. Let's try it on. Okay, just slide it over my ear. Adjust it until it fits nice and snug around my ear. And again, this is 20 gauge wire, very malleable. It will do what you want it to do. And there we have it. Here's my little ear and my little earring. Isn't that neat? I love it. Turn this in just a little bit more. Here we go. Here we are. Isn't that cute as it can be? It really is. I love it. Yay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this one, I'm also going to have some chain. It's going to be a little bit different. Let me put my earring back on. Yeah, I'll put it on later. Okay, so this one I'm going to, let's not do that one yet. We're gonna go to the next one that's got the same frame. You do it the exact same way. We're gonna use some chain, but we're gonna use a little more chain this time for this design. And I'm using these little teardrop beads just because I can. So for this one, very simple. All I want to do is make a loop, just like I did last time. I'm going to go ahead and try it on my other ear. It looks right. There we go. That's on there. I've got some little sparkles on here. Get off it there. And I've got my little bend where I want my loop to go at the bottom. This is going to hang from here at the top. I'm going to hang a chain from there. And let's go ahead and take it off my ear and do some designing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this little piece off down here at the bottom that I don't need. And make a loop, just like I did on the other side. Sliding my wire down about 1/4 of an inch. Make a small loop, just like I did the others. And then do the same thing at the top here. Just make a loop. Okay. It's nice and closed and nice and flat. Very good. And now we're going to attach our wire. Now this one I'm doing a little bit different because I want this to extend all the way around. So I'm going to have a little drop here. And it's going to come around and hang down like that. It's hard to tell when it's not on there yet. So let's just go ahead and get it on there. So all I need is to get a little piece of wire. I wonder if that's enough. I do believe it might be. Get a little piece of wire. Again, I'd give yourself a good couple of inches so that you have plenty. You can cut off what you don't need. I'm going to make my little head pin, just a small half turn with the tip of my round pliers, like I did before. And again, you can use a store-bought head pin if you want, but I really like minimizing what I have to buy. Squeeze that little tip. Slide on my bead, my little teardrop. Straighten that out a little more. Okay, slide on my teardrop. Yes. Perfect. And that was maybe an inch. Really only need about an inch to an inch and a quarter of wire. Okay, I'm going to bend my wire back at a right angle. Snip that down to about 1/2 inch. and make a loop. You're going to be masters at making loops by the time you're finished with this. You will have made so many. Okay. It's completely closed. There we go. And then the other one, I don't think that's long enough. It might be, but I'm not going to take any chances. So I'll just use this piece of wire and make another little half loop here. Get it closed down to a little nub. Slide on my larger teardrop. Now I'm using, is this 8mm? Yes. 6mm and an 8mm teardrop. Those of you who get kits will get a selection of beads to work with so that you can decide what you want to go where. Cut this down to about 1/2 inch as usual. And make a loop. Come on, close up. Really does not want to close. There we go. All right, now for placement. I only want about 1/2 inch of chain hanging down here. So I'm going to give myself 1/2 inch. You can determine what feels comfortable for you. I just want a little bit of a dangle here. So I'm going to go with 1/2 inch. I'm going to open up the top of my ear frame, my wire. And you can do this, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can count the little lengths of your chain so that you can remember where you can hold it with your pliers or you can hold it with your fingers. But I think it's easier to unless it's a tiny chain that's too small to count the lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put the 5th link through my frame loop. Put that in there. Trying to do it so that you can see and I can't see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. I might have to use the pliers to hold it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very nice. Close that up. All right. And then I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and you want to decide how much of a dangle you want. And I already have one made, so I want it to match. See, cute. So easiest way to do it is to put them side by side, or again, count your links. Whichever way works better. I think I'm going to count my links. I think that'll work better. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26. 26 links from the other attachment. So 1, 2, straighten it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 26 is right here. And now if I had been smart, I would have opened up my link, but I didn't. So now I'm going to have to hold on to this while I open up my link, my loop. Okay, so twist my loop open again. Make sure my chain is straight. And slide that 26th loop into my ear frame loop. Can you see this? Yes, you can see. I can't see because I'm trying to make sure you can see. In there? Yes. And then close it back up. Here we go. Double check, make sure the length is right. Yeah. Yes, nice. Okay, so this is what I have so far. And now I'm going to add my other bead. So I want to again count my links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and cut off the 10th one. That off. I'm going to count again just to make sure, because if it's too short, I'm out of luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and cut number 10. If you want to grab it. All right. And now it's time to attach my beads. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So my small bead is going to go up here at the top. Just open it up. Open up that top loop. Slide it in the last link of my chain. Come on. Get in there. And close it. Next, my larger bead. Open up that top loop. Slide it in the last link of my chain at the bottom. All right. Put the pliers down, that might help. Well, maybe open it a little more, Virginia. Doesn't have to be so tight. Slide that in and close. Make sure it's completely tight. Okay, and there it is. Let's try it on. See what it looks like. Slide it over my ear here. And there it is. These are just so much fun. Gosh, I could see you wearing this out now. Out on the town. Hang on. There we go. There. So I can hold this straight up. That looks normal. There we go. There it is. There's our little ear decoration. Now the last one I wanted to do, again, you can adjust this so that I don't like, I've seen some where the rings are visible around the backs of the ears, and I don't like that. So I always make sure to squeeze it in. I don't think there's any reason for those to show. I mean, why? Why? Just why? Okay, there we go. Kind of awesome. All right, let's do one more. I know I'm running out of time because I've just been taking too long. But I want to do one more because for those of you who have pierced ears and you want to wear these, I mean, they're really cute and all, but you have an ear piercing and you might not want to wear a pierced ear along with this. I thought I'd do one that wraps around the ear and covers up that piercing. So let's try that. And for that, we're going to use 10 inches of wire. And the first thing that I'm going to do is make a little spiral around here because I want to have something a little decorative up here. So I'm going to make a little spiral that's going to hang down here and then put a bead on, and I'm using classic pearls for that. Just got these little pearl nuggets. I moved the camera and forgot. I'm just going to use these little pearl nuggets, and I'm going to make an infinity wrap at the top. So first thing I'm going to do is make my spiral, and you need about I measured out 10 inches because you need a couple of inches for your spiral, depending on how big you want it to be, right there around your ear. If you want a really large spiral, you need more wire, but 2 inches is enough for the spiral for me. It doesn't need to be overpowering. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a teeny tiny loop at the very tip of my wire. And for that, I just need to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers and make a loop. Now, when you first turn, you're going to end up with a slightly straight edge. And I want it to be completely round. So I'm going to cut the tip of the wire off that's straight until I have a nice curved edge. And then I'm going to continue my loop, because that way I get a nice round loop. See how nice and round that is? There. So now I'm going to continue to wrap the wire around itself. And I'm going to do a tight spiral instead of an open one. So I've got a little bit of the wire wrapped around itself, and then I'm going to grab my pliers and I'm going to continue to spiral, just wrapping the wire around itself until I have a small spiral. Doesn't have to be large because I don't want a great big one, but it's entirely up to you. Whatever will fit in the little cavity of your ear is how big you want it to be. Okay, and I'm just gonna give it a couple more wraps until it's the size that I want. I think that'll do. So there's my spiral. And then I'm going to bend the straight wire until my spiral is centered on top of it, like that. Now I'm going to put a bead on. I'm going to use one of my little pearls and then slide that on, like so. Now I'm going to make a little infinity wrap at the top. In order to do that, I'm just going to take my pliers and just right there, just beyond the tip, not very much, I'm going to bring the long wire around my pliers. Just wrap it around until I have a loop. Just like that. Again, it does not need to be very large. Then I'm going to take my pliers, let's bring it up a little more. That's my warning saying you need to wrap it up soon. Otherwise, people are going to get bored. And then I'm going to take the tip of my pliers and go just beside that loop, just beside it, like that. And I'm going to make a loop in the other direction. So I'm going to wrap my wire toward the bead. All the way around. And up until I have a little infinity shape or sort of a little figure 8 or a ribbon or whatever you want to call that. So there we have that on the top. I'm going to take my pliers and just push that down so that it's flat. Yeah. And now I'm going to fit it to my ear. So that's where it's going to land. That's where I want it to land. Right there in my ear, just in the center of the cavity. And wrap the wire around the back of my ear. Make sure it's nice and snug. Like that. And then right down here at the bottom, I'm going to curve this up. So I'm going to bring my wire up and around the earlobe, like so. So that's what I have so far. And I'm going to take it off of my ear. This is what I've got. And I'm going to make another little spiral and put a bead on and make a infinity. You can call this all kinds of things. It can be an infinity wrap, it can be a little ribbon, it can be a figure 8. It depends on what you want to call it. But right down here where this goes over my ear, I'm going to make a little infinity wrap. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers again. Right there at the tip of my pliers. I'm going to check it again and make sure where I want my infinity wrap to hit. I want it to go right there. And it's up to you. This is about where my ear is pierced. So I want to cover that up. So I'm going to make my little loop there. So let's take that back off of my ear. Grab my round nose pliers. Slide the wire down to the tip of my pliers. Bring the wire across and over and make a loop. And then I'm going to go right beside my loop with my pliers. Again, grab the tip. And bring my wire around back in the other direction toward the first loop. When I can't go any further, I'm going to open my pliers up and reposition them and bring it around the rest of the way. I have my infinity. And this side's a little smaller than the other, so I'm going to open it up a little more, put a little more of a loop. Here we go. And then I'm going to take my pliers and flatten that out a little bit. And there's my little loop. Put my bead on, a little pearl nugget. And I'm going to make my spiral. Now you can see I had way more than I needed. That's okay. I just need about 2 inches for my spiral. Maybe 1.5 inches. It's not that big. And they don't have to be the same size because your earlobe can only hold so much space. Only has so much space. So let's see what I've got here. I'm going to give myself about, I think, 1.5 inches because I've already got that pearl on there. I think that's lots. And yeah. There we go. Snip that off. And let's make my spiral. And again, I'm going to grab that tip with the tip of my pliers. Start my loop. Cut off the straight part up here to the curve. See, I should have put that in this little guy so that my wire didn't go flying. Oh, there it is. There's that little tiny piece of wire. I hate it when I lose my wire and I have to go searching for it all over my apartment. Okay, let's rotate till we have a loop. And then wrap a little more so the wire wraps around itself. Start my spiral. And grab my pliers and let's make a spiral. Just like we did at the top. And again, you don't have to make them the same size. There's absolutely no reason why they have to be perfectly symmetrical. And if your wire is turned the wrong way, again, this is very malleable wire and you can twist it the way you want it to go. Now, when I get this far, I want to center my spiral. So I'm going to bend the wire back and continue to roll until my spiral is sitting right on top of and in the center of my pearl. So there it is. And now let's put it on my ear and make whatever adjustments I need to make so that it looks the way I want. So I'm going to slide it on my ear here. Go and adjust it to fit my lobe. Push that down so that it lays nicely. Adjust the top where I want it to go. Get that down a little more. And now you can see how it's going to fit right over my ear piercing. And there it is. Ah, isn't that neat? I'm going to turn this in a little bit more. Here we go. Isn't that is so cute? I love it. I don't know where these little sparkly things came from. I really, really like that. So that is it, ladies and gents. Those are our 3 pairs of earrings. I can't get them all in the camera. I'll try to hold them up at the other camera. But I really, really, really like these. Let's take a look in the other camera and see what we have. There's one. I love it. You would think I've never done this before. I actually haven't. I did another one, except that I didn't put a spiral in both sides. I like it. I like this better. Isn't that neat? And there's this one. Stop twisting. Ah, that is really pretty. And then there's this one, and I have to take one of them off to get this one on, because I only have 2 ears, obviously. You can see I took my other earring out so I can match it up with what I was doing. Okay. Oh, you know what? I could have put the earring on so that you could have seen it. That's okay. Ready? These are so popular, and now I mean I really do see why, because they're just so much fun, and they're pretty, they're sparkly, they're different. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on with the frame of my glasses. They're pretty and they're sparkly, they're different. You can leave them on all day. Really, I walk around, and I was walking around the first time I made these. I thought, oh, that stuff dangling off is going to drive me nuts. Forgot I had them on. Just so neat. Is that there? I think so. Can't tell. Too much going on. Anyway, so neat. This one I actually have 2 of. So there we go, ladies and gents. That is our program for today. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed what we did. And I hope you'll make your own. Those of you who get kits will get a selection of, excuse me, a selection of beads so that you can do with them what you will. And I really, really, really hope you'll show me, because I'm loving this, and they're all going to be different. Not, you can do whatever you want with the chains. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy these earrings. So if you make them, I hope you will show me. Send me a picture. You can send it to jewelrygen20@gmail.com, or you can send it to the library Facebook page. The email is jewelrygen20@facebook.com. Jewelrygen jewelrygin20 That's JEWELRYGIN20 And the Facebook page is facebook.com @DeKalb Library. That's facebook.com @DEKALBLIBRARY. Please send pictures. Love, love, love them. Please wear these out to your Christmas and New Year's parties, or whatever parties, holiday parties you have going on during the year, visiting relatives, all of that. I mean, these are just lovely. They also make wonderful gifts for people that have little allergies and can't wear pierced ears, or just don't like the clips. You can't beat it. So anyway, I think this may be the penultimate video of the year. So I think there's one more coming. I'm doing this in November, so I think that's where we're going to be in the calendar. But hopefully you will have great holidays, and I will see you before the new year. And until then, have a great week, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.